In today's video, I'm gonna be going over how you can start wholesaling real estate today, step by step. Now, if you've never heard of wholesaling real estate or you've never done a deal before, then you're in the right place. But maybe you're somebody who's already done a deal. In that case, this video is still gonna be valuable because there are many different changes in the marketplace. We're acquiring deals in much different ways than we did last year. And how we sell deals to end buyers has changed drastically with how many iBuyers and hedge funds there are. On top of that, there are a bunch of new technologies that have made wholesaling easier than ever. So we're gonna discuss all of that, and this is gonna be the comprehensive guide that you need to get started today. If you're new to my channel, my name's Ryan Pineda. I'm a real estate investor here in Las Vegas, and my company's been doing over 100 fix and flips and wholesales the last 4 years straight. On top of that, I recently purchased a 334 unit apartment building. I have Airbnbs, and I've done almost everything you can imagine when it comes to real estate investing. I've also trained over 1,000 students across the country, and if you want to learn how you can be coached directly by me, head over to futureflipper.com after this video. Now, first off, let's go over what exactly wholesaling real estate is. I didn't learn about it until 2015. Up until that point, I'd been a realtor for 5 years, and I really only thought you could buy houses off the MLS. And in my mind, I always figured that in order for you to flip a house, you had to have a bunch of cash and save up all this money, and you had to get a really good deal and hopefully not get screwed over by contractors. Well, then I learned it was a lot easier if you just wholesaled homes. You didn't have to go through the headache of buying it. You didn't have to go through the headache of getting it fixed up. All you had to do was find a great deal. So here's the simple breakdown of how it works. Let's just say that I am the wholesaler and I'm looking for a good deal. I go and find a seller who's willing to sell their home at a discount, and let's just say I lock it up for $100,000. So right now I'm in contract with this seller and I'm committing to buy this home for $100,000. But I also know that there's a flipper in my town that's willing to pay $120,000 for the home. Now, what most people think is you have to buy the house first for $100,000, then you could go sell it to the guy for $120,000. But it's actually easier than that. All you have to do is sell the contract of the home to this house flipper. And by selling the rights to the contract, you can make what's called a wholesale fee. And so you never actually buy the property, you just sell the contract. So here's how it would end up playing out. The house flipper would wire $120,000 to the title company, the seller would get $100,000 of that, and you as the wholesaler would get $20,000. Once the house closes, everyone gets exactly what they wanted. The seller makes $100,000 for their house, which is what they agreed on. You make $20,000 for all of your work connecting the seller with the flipper. And then the flipper gets a house for $120,000, which should be a good deal for them because they're probably gonna flip it and make profit on top of that. And as I said before, when I first heard of this concept of wholesaling, I thought it was a scam, and I never did anything about it until 5 years after being a realtor. Since then, I've wholesaled properties and made over $1 million, and I've paid well over $1 million to wholesalers who have sold me deals. So I can tell you, wholesaling is a great thing whether you are the one wholesaling the property or you're the one buying it from a wholesaler. But the real question is, how do you go about making these wholesale fees and putting these deals together? Well, there's really only two things to worry about. The first is, how do you find the deal? And the second is, how do you find the buyer? Remember, unlike wholesaling, you don't need to raise money or do construction, so don't worry about having to find contractors or lenders. So first off, when it comes to getting deals, there are 3 typical ways that you can do this. Either off the MLS, buying from other wholesalers, or going direct to seller. So if you don't know, the MLS stands for Multiple Listing Service, but you might just know it as a normal property that's on the market. So if you go to Zillow or Realtor.com or Redfin or any of these sites, they are just pulling their data from the MLS and showing you what's on the website. Now, if you're just looking at what's available, it's gonna be very difficult to find out what's a deal because there are so many different houses to look through. But there's actually a simple method that I use that has allowed me to get many deals over the years, and it's called auto searches. Basically, you can set up these auto searches to notify you every time a good deal pops up. Because here's the truth about the MLS. Anytime a good deal pops up, you can almost guarantee that it will be gone in less than a day. And that makes sense, right? If there's a house that's listed for $100,000 and you think it's worth $150,000, everybody else probably sees that too, and they're gonna try and get that deal. So when it comes to the MLS, speed is the name of the game, and so you wanna be notified every time these deals hit the market. And so you have to set up auto searches to notify you when this happens. Now there are a bunch of different auto searches that you can set up, but I'm not gonna talk about them in this video. And that's because you can actually download my book, Flip Your Future, completely for free by going to ryanpineda.com. If you just submit your email, you'll get my book as well as my house flipping contracts so you can start getting deals today. And in that book, it will explain all the different auto searches and how exactly to set them up. But that's the main way we get deals on the MLS. Another way is through networking with realtors. I get a lot of deals from realtors because they know who I am, I've networked with them over the years, and anytime they get a listing coming up, they will send me the deal before they list it. And the reason that they do that is because they know that I'll buy it and they get to make twice the commission. So it's a win-win for everybody because the seller sells it quick, the agent makes 2 commissions, and I get a deal. Now, another way to get deals is through other wholesalers. Now, as I said before, I fix and flip more than I wholesale. So by me networking with other wholesalers, they know I'm an end buyer and I can buy their deals. But you can also be a wholesaler and help other wholesalers sell their deals to end buyers. So think about this. Maybe you know who I am and a wholesaler doesn't. Well, we know that wouldn't happen, hopefully, because everyone should have seen this YouTube video. But assuming that that happened, you have an end buyer that this wholesaler doesn't. And let's just say this wholesaler has the house under contract for $100,000, but they cannot sell it because they have no buyers. Well, you know that I'll pay $120,000 for it because I'm trying to buy everything I can. And so you go to that wholesaler and say, hey, look, I've got an end buyer. I think he'll pay $120,000. For me bringing him, let's just split the wholesale fee. The other wholesaler agrees, and now you're gonna make $10,000 and they're gonna make $10,000. And for you, you didn't have to find the deal because they were the ones who found it. All you did was find a buyer. And this happens a lot more often than you would think. I've had people who've brought me a deal that have had multiple wholesalers on it. We have also had wholesalers find us a buyer, and we've structured it in multiple ways. We've done it where we split the wholesale fee 50-50. We've also done it where we said, hey, we need $110,000 for this property. Anything else you get above 110, you get to keep. So sometimes that wholesaler could have made less than us, or they might have made more than us because they got it significantly above the 110. But either way, you want to network with other wholesalers because they can be a source of deals for you if you have buyers, or vice versa. Maybe you have a deal, but you can't find a buyer for it, so another wholesaler will help you find a buyer. Just remember, other wholesalers aren't your competition. You should be collaborating with them so that you can do more deals. The last way to find deals is through direct-to-seller marketing. Just to name a few, you could do direct mail, you could do text messaging, cold calling, pay-per-click, the list goes on and on. If you've got a really big budget, you could be like me and run TV commercials. Now, most people watching this video who are just getting started are not gonna be spending $30,000 a month running TV commercials. Probably gonna go for some inexpensive ways to go directly to sellers. The best way to go direct to seller on the cheapest budget is by using a software called Batch Leads. If you go to batchleads.io/homerun, you can get 500 text messages for just $1. On top of that, you can test out their software, which has a ton of different cool features to comp out properties and help you see what they're worth, to see what is owed on the property, what kind of mortgages, to see if people are in foreclosure, and to run a whole different bunch of types of lists. I think Batch Leads is great because not only do you get access to all that data, but it's really affordable. And basically what you would do is pick the data that you want to get and then market to them. So maybe you pull a list of pre-foreclosure homes. Through Batch Leads, you can go and get their phone numbers, and then you can do multiple things. You could text message those sellers, you could cold call those sellers, or you could even send them direct mail. And all of those things can be done through Batch's platform. So it makes it very easy and an all-in-one solution. Now, obviously with direct-to-seller marketing, there's a whole bunch that goes into it. You gotta think about what list you wanna pull, what marketing you wanna use, how is your sales process gonna be? Are you gonna be following up? Are you trying to go on appointments? You trying to close them over the phone? Those things are gonna take time for you to learn. But in time, you can for sure lock up a deal and make a lot of money wholesaling. Just make sure that before you start doing direct-to-seller marketing, You have the contracts that you downloaded from ryanpineda.com, so you can actually lock them up and go into escrow. But those are the three main ways that we find deals, and I highly suggest using those ways if you're just getting started wholesaling. Now, assuming that you find a deal, you've got to figure out how to find the buyer for that deal. Now, there are many different ways to do this, but there are a few easy ones. The first is to just go on Facebook groups. I would search real estate investing, I would search wholesaling real estate, I would search house flipping, and just join every single group that you can. You can do this both nationwide and locally. And in these groups, go to the search bar and search your local market. So for me, I would search Las Vegas and see all the posts made about Las Vegas. From there, somebody has probably already posted a deal before, somebody has already posted about getting a buyer's list built up. Just go through all the comments and start taking all that data that people have already posted. You can also go to all those people and send them direct messages and ask them what their buying criteria is. I think just from doing that by itself, you will have more than enough buyers once you find a deal. Another way to do this is by going to your local RHEA. So RHEA stands for Real Estate Investing Association. They're an actual organization that's in almost every city. But you can also join other meetup groups that aren't with the RHEA organization. I used to run one for Future Flipper here in Las Vegas. I've seen other people start their own and brand them as such. So just join every single local real estate investing group that you can find and start going to the meetings. More than likely, you're gonna find some end buyers there, but you're also gonna be able to network with other wholesalers as well. And as we talked about before, other wholesalers can be a great source of deals or a great source of buyers for your deals. Now, one thing that I mentioned earlier is that for buyers, a lot of the people we've been selling to lately are hedge funds. My company, as well as many of our students at Future Flipper, have been making far more by selling to them over other buyers. Mainly because these hedge funds are paying market value for homes. Typically, when you sell to a flipper, they're gonna want a discount because they've got to go flip the property and make money. But that's not the case with these hedge funds. Many of them are just buying the properties to hold them as rentals. And they're looking at it from the 5 to 10 year perspective. So even if they pay market value today, if they get the right property that they feel good about for appreciation, they know they're gonna win in the long run and they don't really care. And so for us as wholesalers, it's way better to go to those hedge funds and sell them deals. And this is why I say that things are changing drastically from where they were a year or even 2 years ago. All the low interest rates and with the housing demand that there is today, hedge funds are buying now more than ever. And unfortunately, they're not the ones sitting on the Facebook groups. It takes a lot of extra work to find these guys, but if you do, then you're able to pay a lot more for properties because you know that they're willing to pay top dollar. And honestly, one of the best ways to find hedge funds is to get around other people in your market who are doing this at a high level. Most likely they're already selling to the hedge funds because they've figured it out, and all you gotta do is get in with them and they'll give you those contacts. And this is one of the biggest benefits to joining my coaching programs at Future Flipper. We've got over 500 students in my coaching program alone, many of them with huge resources of people like hedge funds, other end buyers, cash to fund deals, people to JV with, the list goes on and on. And when you join, we actually give you a directory of all of our students across the country, just in case you get a deal in your local market or maybe some other market and you need somebody to buy it. And then obviously we teach a whole bunch of other things with wholesaling, house flipping, buying rentals, and I even coach people directly in my All-Star program. And so if you want to join any of my coaching programs, all you got to do is go to futureflipper.com and apply today. Someone from my team will get on the phone with you and let you know what's the best program for you in your situation. But anyways, I hope this video was helpful if you're trying to get started in wholesaling today. If you want more content on how to get into real estate investing and how to build a business, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. I'm coming out with new content weekly and you don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching.